So yesterday, we talked a little bit more about even more different parts of the circle. So let's review what we talked about the first day. The first day, we talked about the circumference of the circle, which is the measure around the outside. We talked about the radius of the circle, which is a line drawn from the center to a point on the circumference. And we talked about the diameter, which is where we have a line that goes from one point on the circumference straight across through the center to a point on the opposite side of the circumference. And this whole thing is called the circle, and the area is called the surface, or the area. Okay. Then, yesterday, we talked about, does anyone remember the name of this? It's a semicircle. A semicircle. And if we have a semicircle, or semicircle, we also have a semicircumference. Excuse me, a semicircumference, not a semicircumference. Semicircumference, or semicircumference. Try to say that 5 times fast. It's pretty hard. It's a hard word. All right. Then we talked about the arc. Does anyone remember what the arc is? So if you said that the arc, or an arc, is any part of a circumference, you would be correct. And then we also talked about this little guy. Do you remember this one? Do you remember the name of this? This is called a circular sector. And we talked about how we make a circular sector. We make a circular sector by drawing one radius from the center to the circumference, and then another one, another radius from the center to the circumference. And that gives us a circular sector. A circular sector has an arc and 2 radii, or radiuses. What we're going to talk about today is even more different names. Now this part is kind of cool though. I mean, all of it's cool, but this part is like, there's some interesting stuff you can do with this. So here I have a circle, and I'm going to draw a line that touches the circumference in 2 places. Let's see, I have my colored pencils here. So I think I'm going to make my first line green. So I'm going to draw a line that touches the circumference in 2 places. So it's touching it here and here. It touches the circumference in 2 places, but it does not go through the center. So this is called a chord. I'm going to write that out. Chord is C-H-O-R-D. Chord. Now, I'm going to draw another chord. I'm going to use pink, or magenta. It's the name of the colored pencil. It's magenta. So let's see, I'm going to draw another one right here. So this also touches in 2 places, but does not go through the center of the circle. This is also a chord. Now, this next chord, I think I'm going to use blue. So I have my blue, and I'm going to go through the center of my circle. So when we have a chord that goes through the center of a circle, it is called the diameter. So a diameter is a chord, but a chord is not necessarily a diameter of a circle. So now we're going to look at something else. We're going to come back to this because there is some interesting follow-up work that you can do with it. So here I have a triangle inside of a circle. Each of these lines touches the circumference in two places. So each of these is a chord. I'm going to go ahead and label those. So this is a chord. I'll put a little arrow so we know. This is a chord. And this is a chord. Each part of the circle that goes from the chord to the arc, or part of the circumference, because that's what an arc is part of the circumference, is called a segment. So I'm going to cut on my chord as neatly as I can. And I'm going to place my segment here. So I'm going to label this as my segment. So this is a segment. How many segments does this figure have all together? It has 3. 1, 2, 3 segments. A segment goes from a chord to an arc. This is a segment. All right, so now I have a circle within a circle. They have the same center. So we can say that they are concentric, which means having the same center. So I'm going to take my ticket that I made, right? And I'm going to place it above my concentric circles. Now, this part in between the two circles is called a concentric circular sector. But if we lived in Ireland, we'd call it a crown. Why do you think they call a concentric circular sector a crown? So for follow-up work, all of these are in our folders, and you're going to print them out, label the different parts. So the different parts we have here are circular sector, concentric circles. Oh no, excuse me, not circular sector. Segment, concentric circular sector or crown, and chord. So one of the really cool things you can do with chords is you can make shapes like this. I wonder if you could do a square with chords inside a circle. Someone should try that out. But you can also make art with chords. So this is just a quick art project I did with one of the circles and drawing a bunch of different chords going across it, but all of them starting from about the same spot on the circle. It was a little hard to do. I used my ruler and my colored pencils. But you could do this on cloth with embroidery thread. You could do it with just paper. So you could cut out a paper circle. You could do it with different types of like pattern paper, wrapping paper, construction paper, cardstock, all different kinds, and put it on and then mount it on a bigger piece of paper or cardboard. You could even do embroidery thread through cardboard. You could use yarn. There are lots of ideas. I'll put some up on the folders so that you guys have a lot of different options. You can make all sorts of different sorts of shapes inside the circle with cords. So there's a lot that we can do, and not all of them just cutting, pasting, and labeling. So I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye.